Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here today, speaking about my favorite subjects. Who am I? Fredrik Allard, head of e-mobility, being a truck nerd the last 35 years. It all started when I was a 20-year version of myself, platoon leader, responsible for a fleet of 13 Scania 112 at that time. And after that, the employer of choice was clear. It became Scania, and now 30 years later, I'm still in the same company. During this time, and almost 20 years ago, there was something I can call a game changer for me, and that was listening to Al Gore and the message he had in The Inconvenient Truth. That made me think about how can I continue on this journey while being a big part of the problem for the planet. But I think along that way, a lot of things happened. We saw the possibilities in new technologies, and that is what we will come into today. Being in a transformation like this, it's really 2 steps forward, 1 back, because we need to test and try things as we go. But one thing that is clear for us right now is that electric trucks is the future. And there are good reasons for that, and I will come back to that. But start to say something about the company. I think a company always starts with the people, and that goes for us as well. Our employees and our dear customers. And I think there are 3 reasons why both our employee and our customers stick to us. And one being our core value, and that is to drive the shift towards a sustainable future. Another reason is our modular design, being with the limited amount of components, being able to tailor-make solutions for many customer needs. And a third reason is what goes under the name of Scania Way, and that is a number of principles and core values and methods that we use, based already in the 90s, influenced by companies in the automotive world that was really good in continuous improvement. So there are good reasons to stay with the company. And say something about the company in figures. We are present in 100 countries. We have 8 main production facilities spanning from Europe to Latin America, and also our newest in China that we are starting up and ramping up production in right as we speak. 1,500 workshops across the world, 50,000 employees, whereof 3,000 indirect or direct in UK. And also we have been since, I think it's 70 years now, also a profitable company. We succeeded even with a thin margin in the financial crisis time of 2009. Also being recognized for being in the forefront of innovation and technologies. We are proud of our, as I said, our modular design, but also our technologies going into the combustion engine as the V8s. And now taking the step into the electric world with building up our own battery production and also our in-house design of the batteries. Good, but I'm not here to talk about how big or how great we are. I'm here to talk about the challenges and the opportunities going forward. And the big challenge is, of course, the decarbonization journey. And we need to be on top of that, and with that, also other challenges comes that are needed to solve the decarbonization. We're facing tough legislation and timelines to meet these legislations, stricter reporting also connected to that, and also constant evolution of technologies. But all those are needed, and we are in great thanks to those to be able to do something with the first challenge. So really, we are positive to the legislation, to the tough legislation, because that is the guiding star for us to have everyone seeing the same timeline for when this transformation will happen. And stricter reporting and the constant technology evolution we need to face, because even if we see battery electric as the future, we know that there are bridging technologies that we will need in the meantime for the decarbonization journey. Speaking about the speed on how fast electrification will happen, we see this, the white line here, and why we believe in this transformation that we will be on a very high level already by 2030, 2035 is because, first of all, we must do this for the decarbonization and for the world, but also that the technology exists and it works, and also because it makes economic sense. We can make sure that there is more money in the pocket, both for the transport industry and for the consumers. And basically, we will follow our electrification transformation journey will basically follow the legislation of Europe. So 15% less carbon in 2025, 45% reduction in 2030, 65 in 35, and 90% less in 2040. And as I said, we see a need of bridging technologies during this time. So biofuels already available and possible right now, but in the long run, due to the higher price of biofuels and an advantage for electric vehicles, we believe that this will be the journey for electric trucks. And then what needs to be resolved for this to happen? Starting with maybe the biggest concern, and that is about the cost. How can we make electric transport cost neutral or better than what we have today with diesel? And what we see in this diagram is that the major part, if we look into long haulage, a typical TCO breakdown of a long haulage product, we see that 45% of the cost is related to energy. And this is why we see that we will have an advantage also towards diesel, because of that will shrink during this time towards around 25% of the cost charge. Driver will obviously be the same, even if they tend to like to drive electric better than diesel vehicles. And then we have the big challenge as an OEM of the vehicle. Starting off on a cost level or a price level of 3 times a diesel vehicle, but we are on the journey and we believe that we will reach 2 times the price of a diesel vehicle very soon. And the delta itself is due to the battery. We are carrying part of the energy, so that is natural that the vehicle will cost more because it is the energy that we are consuming during operation. So there is absolutely hopes of that. But what we need to have is then that to come to this forecast of the prices of electricity, and it needs to come to somewhere around 20 to 30 cents per kilowatt hour. And as I said, the vehicle needs to come to 2 times the price of a diesel vehicle. But there's good hope in that will be resolved. Then we have some other things that we are also challenged with during this journey. And one is maybe more today has a big impact, and that's battery supply. We at Scania, we are developing our batteries by ourselves, and we are producing the batteries in Södertälje now, and we will produce them where we produce the trucks. But we are buying the battery cells, and maybe some of you read the news yesterday that our main supplier of battery cells filed for bankruptcy yesterday. But we took this is also driving the shift, driving this transformation, trying to get local suppliers where we have production. So it's not the only supplier we have, so we will basically need to go for other suppliers. So, but I think it's for Europe, it's sad that we cannot have yet a provider of cells competing to the other global players. We'll see what happens. But this is, of course, super important, and the reason why we have in-house development and production is it's not only the cell that is important. A lot of the properties when it comes to charging speed, when it comes to range, is related to the design of the battery, and we are going to be on top of that, just as fuel consumption on the diesel side. Another issue is weight penalties, and obviously the batteries are more heavier weight than just a diesel tank, and we will see good development of that the years to come. We have already seen the development of the density or energy density of the batteries is improving every year. But to start with, this is an issue, and I think that it needs to be recognized and incentivized for the transport companies to be able to cover this loss of payload during the transformation time until we have that on par with diesel. And the big issue is, of course, charging. A lot of times we talk about that it goes too slow, charging initiatives, but I really see many good initiatives. And we are investing heavily in charging infrastructure in different ways. One is the company Milans that you will have here on the stage soon, that is building up charging infrastructure for truck-specific charging stations right now, opening the first station here in UK last week. So I think that is something good that is happening. But also the other, the oil and gas companies are also seeing what's happening on the pass car and also preparing and building truck-ready stations. We also have initiatives, an initiative to provide depot charging for our customer. We have started a company and invest in resources in a company called Erinion so that we can be part of supplying and offering the best possible depot charging solution. And the third initiative is what we call Scania Charging Access, and that is to provide effortless and to the right price public charging, so that it's a card and an app to be able to charge on all public charging stations. And the reason for why we are doing that is to close contract with the CPOs, to get to the right, to promise the volume and get to the right price level of public charging because that is then required to meet the TCO for battery electric vehicles. So I think a lot of good things is happening. So it's not just a plea for help for governments and policymakers, but if there is something that I would like to push for is of course the build out of the right grid, because that could slow this transformation down. It's super important, and both for the charging operators, that they can build out the public charging, but also for the depot, for the transporters, that they can build a depot and connect to the right grid capacity. And of course also electricity, the build out of green electricity capacity to make the prices following the forecasts that we see now, that will make the parity of driving electric. So that's our challenges. If we dig into how this transformation needs to happen, we have heard it a few times already. It's not a one-man show to do this. It's really many different players that needs to sit on the same around the same table, and it's of course our customers, the transport companies, but also the transport buyers with an agenda of decarbonization. Also the infrastructure partners, because even if we do things internally, we are dependent on partners here as well. And here Scania is, I think that we need to take the facilitator role in this. The legislation is on us to make sure that we are decarbonizing the vehicles according to the legal demands. But we have also the possibility to facilitate this journey with our customers. And how we are doing that, one example of that, this is a picture just displaying that we need to offer more services than what we have done before. Scania is of course offering leasing services and repair and maintenance services, also financial services and insurance and so on. But what we are doing now is that we are taking a step into charging services as well, to be able to facilitate the transformation and to have the different parties around the table and support and facilitate us through this journey. And then one example of how that is being done is that we have started this company then called Erinion to support the transport companies in the transformation, starting off with the analytics, understanding in what time can you change the vehicle, what kind of energy need do you have, how much do you need to charge at your depot versus publicly. And here we use also some 700,000 connected vehicles that we have already to understand the driving pattern and use that as a part of this analytics. When we come into the solution design, we can also support by having the understanding how the transformation should be done. We can also have a stepwise approach to what kind of grid connection do you need, what kind of charger do you need, and how can you build this up stepwise. And in the deployment phase, we can recommend the hardware and software that works well together with the vehicles. So this is a way forward to support the industry on how to make this transformation. To end with, I would like to say, yes, big challenge. We have this in front of us. And I think what I would push for one more time is that it's the grid connection, it's the electricity capacity, and obviously also to support the transport companies with good incentives to make this, to make the early years of this transformation happen. And on our side, on the Scania side, then we will continue with the modular design of the vehicles to be able to support all customer needs. We will continue with the traditional services, but on top of that, we add on charging services and also the role of being a facilitator, supporting the industry of making this transformation. And maybe last of all, we will also make sure that Scania remains a Scania for the future as well, even if it's an electric one.